Good evening. As I mentioned before, continuing this pertains to the former stepfather, William B. Loeb, that using the operation, etc., that he had followed me through life, and he had positioned on some various secret false accusations that he used to further his own intents in life. Another particular detail goes back to when I was in high school in Sebring. I don't remember exactly what year. I don't remember whether it was when I was a senior or maybe it was just soon after high school, but it was back during the time frame. And on one day, I decided I had some spare time. I was probably bored or whatever in my room, and decided to work on a civil defense study. There was always concerns, against the arms race back then. There was frequently news about, the proliferation of nuclear weapons between the United States and the Soviet Union. And so I found a civil defense bulletin I think it was from the early 1960s. And I studied it some, and there was a chapter that was technical about detailing various capabilities of alleged capabilities of Soviet ICBMs. What the estimated warhead capabilities were, what the result of explosions from the various warheads would possibly be. They used diagrams in the booklet where they would show a circular area, radius of damage, diameter of an area that they would be estimated total damage, and another area outward of that where they would say where it would be most everything damaged, and out further where there'd be lesser damage until I think that the last of the diagram was an outer area where they estimated 25% damage. Well, anyway, I don't remember the details. I don't remember what kind of megatonnage that they used as an example, but they had used a specific radius of miles, and I decided from concerns against there ever being a nuclear war to get more of an idea of exactly what they were what was meant. That I got a road atlas, and I opened up to the state of Florida, and I used I don't know whether I used a protractor whatever to measure the scale of miles on the map, size the circular what had been depicted in the civil defense bulletin to all of the county seats, the towns and cities that are county seats in the state of Florida. I don't remember exactly how many. I think there's 67 counties in Florida. Okay, I drew a circle around each, to get kind of an abstract depiction of what could be, implied about what was being said in the bulletin. Like, what if it happened? So I drew the various circles around all of the towns, and I drew extra circles on the larger metro areas. And then I shaded them in with a pencil or pen, I forget what. And I think, it's absolutely so worrisome that there are so many nuclear weapons in the arsenals that even if the smallest county seat was hit, that they'd still have, that on the United States side and the Soviet side, that there would still be thousands of additional warheads. Probably even if it happens, everything. I wasn't implying that I had any knowledge of or expectation of or worry that it could happen, that there would be an enemy so bad that they would want to destroy even small towns. But just to get a limited perspective of what was being implied by there being so many warheads, and using the technical data that was in the particular civil defense bulletin, that I drew the size to scale circles around the various locations in Florida. And then after that, I also decided, now that's terrible, if it happened, it would be such a tragedy, that there would be thousands of additional warheads even. So I also on the map drew a hypothetical. What if the wind was in a particular direction? And I think I used pencil to sketch a hypothetical trail of fallout. So anyway, when I finished that, my only concern was against nuclear war. I didn't have any bad intent. I wasn't doing any kind of conspiring or anything. And the depiction was it can't happen. There's got to be prevention. All I was a teenager. There wasn't anything I could do about the proliferation of nuclear weapons. There wasn't anything I could do to try to prevent anything. But the perspective that I got from that, plus all the various other knowledge and studying, was hoping and praying that there would never be a nuclear war. So anyway, I put the road atlas away, and then I forgot about it. But what happened is that the road atlas, the road atlas with the detailing on it, was among belongings that I ended up putting into Bill Love's business warehouse. Back then, like I said before, he had a business named Thunderbird Aircraft Company. It was Thunderbird Aircraft. He changed the name of the corporation a few times. I think the most recent, back then it was a name, I think it was Thunderbird Aircraft Parts, Components, and Accessories, something like that. Anyway, he had a warehouse that he had built out on US 27 North in Sebring, just south of Bayview, where there's an old trailer park. Well, like I said before also, that in his warehouse he had an office that he built using 2x4 frame, and he never really completely finished it. It was very, very thin walls, just some drywall on it without any insulation or anything. And there was a ladder to the upstairs above the office where there's storage. So before I moved to Orlando, I guess it was, or after, sometime after, that I put stuff up into his loft that I didn't bring with me to Orlando. Among the belongings was the particular map that I did a map study. So anyway, I forgot about it, but the indications are that eventually Bill Love found it and decided to accuse that or he knew about it from the beginning. Because something was done to me. It was after the operation. So they decided to say, we'll go ahead and secretly use this against Ralph. We know otherwise, but let's say that we'll say that Ralph was conspiring to trying to cause a nuclear war and depicted the total destruction of Florida. But that wasn't true. So anyway, I didn't realize it. I had completely forgotten about the matter, and through all the years, until one day in 2017, I was using my computer and a weather app, a radar app that I had installed on my computer, the My Radar app. So it's a really interesting, good quality radar depiction for weather. But I noticed something that I had never seen before. That there were the first location I noticed it on was in Colorado, centered on an airport named Front Range Airport, just south of Denver. That there was what looked like visible only when there's weather. There was a circular zone, like clear inside of the circle, but all around it, indications of activity. Some kind of energy transmitting activity, that when it's in weather, that it looks like ominous. It looks like some persons want to make it look like it's a crater, or transmitting of some kind of energy. But anyway, it looked kind of ominous. And then I noticed that also in Florida, right just north of the Sarasota-Bradenton area, Sun City Center. So of course the manifestation, it's visible to anybody using the particular app, but it might have been significant and meant for me to notice if it had any origin of the former stepfather. So I gradually noticed, I used the app a few more times and looked around the nation and found that there are many places, probably at least one in each state, mostly centered near various airports. And so I sent whatever report that I sent, besides hearing the various awareness that occurs about everything. And I also noticed that there were some locations overseas also, including in South Korea and also in Japan. So anyway, the concern, of course, was that there was that because the depiction, the way the circular scenes, the circular activity locations looked, dangerous. Maybe even of somebody predicting that there was going to be destruction. But of course, whoever designed the radar or the transmitters, whatever, is that they know for sure. So anyway, back then, 2017, the exact day and time is in the journal. I don't have it with me right now, but it was in 2017 that there was a day when an old man sounding like and portraying himself as being the stepfather William B. Love set an emphasis of these transmitters. So anyway, of course, the indication is that earlier in his life with his business, he traveled all around the nation and visited airports all around the nation, and also Air Force bases where he oftentimes bid on lots of government surplus in order to get items for his warehouse for his business that he could use, and other surplus items that he sold or gave away or whatever. I don't know. So anyway, that was the concern. Of course, he has his influence. As I might have said before, that he says that during the 1960s he was a personal pilot for the governor of Florida, Governor Claude Kirk. So of course, his previous position, he might have even earned a little extra money about secretly portraying me as though I was conspiring against the state. But really, no, I didn't. And I'm always still for everyone being safe and saved instead. Difficulty today, however, is earlier this afternoon I made a video about the same as this, out on the roadside. But then immediately after, I noticed that, wow, what happened? It's gone. There wasn't any video on my screen, and whenever I try to view the video that I made, it cannot play video. And the man portraying himself as being Bill Love got into the usual broadcasting confusion and threatened me about it, accusing me of trying to endanger this nation, and then also said threat. Actually, he again portraying himself as official. Well, actually, through so many years, as proven in my journals and reports, had been wanting to say various threats and attitudes against our people. So I decided, and then after his threat, something else happened that might have been relevant. That when there was the sun, whether it was sun glare or whatever, the screen wasn't completely visible for me to be able to see where the pointer was. So I wouldn't have selected it, but immediately what happened was a Volkswagen ad occurred to the screen, and I immediately turned it off. But of course, that reminds me that when Bill Love first arrived to the scene in Miami in '68, that he drove a black Volkswagen bus for his business. So anyway, this is just a reminder of another study and effort and concern that I had sent on behalf of our people and nation, and I'm continuing to hope that everyone continues to be safe and that there won't be any nuclear war, and hoping everyone's having a good night.